The true freshman out of Powell, Ohio, excited to get a little bit of a cleaner backdrop here after back-to-back games inside Haluba Hall. Same starting lineup Penn State's run out there each of their first two contests where they've picked up a victory and a loss. And for the Tigers, Ryan Croddick, who last year in his first career start, 22 saves against the Nittany Lions. That was a Princeton record for a goalie making their first start. And an experienced Princeton attack. Burns, Kabiri, Bonanno, the Ivy Rookie of the Year, slides up from midfield to attack. Chad Palumbo, as we just told you, the preseason midfielder of the year nationally, is the opening faceoff controlled by the Nittany Lions. And we're underway, Dave. We talked to both coaches, and okay, do you want to have 2 games under your belt, or do you want the opponent to not have any game film? And they said 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, flip a coin. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but don't be surprised if Penn State tries to take advantage of the experience they have through those first 2 games and gets out to an early lead as Princeton looks to gel in their first regular season contest of 2026. Some early season jitters for the Tigers, not unexpected.
Luke Wallstrom carries behind the cage. Cooper Miller, defensive midfielder, as Wallstrom comes topside, turns the corner, and gets the Nittany Lions on the scoreboard.
Exactly what you want to see if you're Penn State, is taking an early lead. Just like I was saying, take the experience, try to get an early shot on a cold goalie that hasn't seen regular season action. They're 1 for 1. They go up 1-0 away from home, but the Penn State faithful have traveled well from Happy Valley. A good showing here on a beautiful day, all things considered, here in Princeton.
Luke Wallstrom, the veteran on this Penn State offense, the redshirt senior, the lone returning starter in a rebuilt midfield. He's a third-year starter, and he has the Nittany Lions up 1-0 on the road. Face-offs, a spot to watch. Colby Baldwin coming in 61%. Reed Gills is 67%. He was the Big Ten Specialist of the Week 2 weeks ago after that opening victory against Colgate.
And that's going to be a stat line to watch, the face-off percentages. Andrew McMeekin, a veteran at the face-off X for Princeton, a strong suit the past few years after Princeton had struggled for the better part of a decade at the X.
Second midfield line, Michael Ferrone feathers it behind the cage. Here comes Lehman, junior out of Ambler, Pennsylvania, up top. Hunter Aquino, all 6'5" of them, dodging downhill, goes low, and it's 2-0 Penn State. Hattie stop 6'5", 210 with a head of steam.
You're going to have to slide early, and then you're going to have to replace on the backside. The help's got to be there, too. Princeton tries to slide to collide, but it's just too late. Aquino uses the turf to his advantage, and Penn State goes up 2-0. Princeton's got to get a possession at the X to stop the Nittany Lion momentum.
And if you're Princeton, this is what you worry about. You've scrimmaged twice. They scrimmaged UMBC a week ago, and you can kind of get some game reps there. Their first scrimmage was in the bubble. Second scrimmage against UMBC was out here, but so tough to simulate the game speed. Whistle on the face-off, and the third consecutive possession by the Nittany Lions, who have a chance to extend this 2-0 lead. We've talked a lot about this experienced, highly rated Princeton offense, and they haven't had a possession yet.
Well, that's exactly it. If that's the strong point of the Princeton team, you keep the ball away from them. Defense or offense is your best defense.
Kyle Lehman swings it topside, and it's intercepted. Here come the Tigers running the other way. Couple of two-sport athletes. We talked about Cooper Miller earlier. That was Jackson Green, who's also a starting wide receiver across campus on the Princeton football team. And now quickly into the stick of Nate Kabiri.
Kabiri is going to solidify himself as one of the best set shooters in college lacrosse this year.
Tucker Wade out of the box. Tigers get one back.
Tucker Wade always seems to get Princeton off to a hot start. We talk about Chad Palumbo, the preseason midfielder of the year, and that leaves 19 with an open lane down the middle of the field, and a high percentage shot goes through for the Tigers to get them on the board for the first time this season.
Tucker Wade, the junior out of Bethesda, Maryland. His father, a former ACC Player of the Year in North Carolina. Coming off an honorable mention All-America campaign, first team All-Ivy. First Princeton sophomore offensive midfielder to be first team All-Ivy since Tom Schreiber. Face-off win for the Tigers. Coming off the wing, Zach Friedman, the senior from Colorado, winning it for the orange and black.
And big for the Tigers on that first possession after Penn State won those first two face-offs to get one past the freshman netminder, right? A freshman, you know, 2 games inside, as you said, Cody. Better sight lines today, but not on that one by Wade.
Here's Tucker Wade, top midfield for Matt Madelon, John Dunphy, Tucker Wade, and Chad Palumbo, 2 seniors and a junior. Dunphy, a New Jersey product out of Ridgewood, New Jersey. He's number 48. Tucker Wade had the first goal sprinting out of the box on the Tigers' only settled possession of the contest. Peter Bonanno was a midfielder last year, finished the season strong, was the Ivy Rookie of the Year, and now he's got it behind the cage. Chad Palumbo, the midfielder, inverting for the orange and black, comes topside. Stick checked away from behind, and pursuing and getting it is Preston Hawkins.
Yeah, don't be surprised to see Chad Palumbo behind the cage. He was a high school attackman, as many of these fabulous offensive players are, but he is very comfortable dodging from back there.
Preston Hawkins started the first 2 games in his first career start 2 weeks ago against Colgate, allowed 4 goals on 5 shots, and was pulled for another freshman. Hayes Schreiner was right back out there last week. Loss in overtime, although played much better. And Coach Tambroni talking about it. Hawkins just edging out Schreiner in that preseason battle that went right down to the last scrimmage, but they feel good with both of them. 4 minutes deep, 2-1 Penn State on top after they jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the first 2 possessions of the contest. Patrick Carragher, second line midfield, the redshirt sophomore. Sends it topside. Here's John Jude Considine, the transfer, tries to throw it over his shoulder. That was Lehman, and it's backed up by Iantuano.
Interesting to see the matchup on Hunter Aquino. It's Jack Stahl, the long stick midfielder. He's 6'4", 190, so they're going size on size there. Thought we might see Cooper Kistler on number 23, but so far it's been Stahl.
So that was Iantuano, the true freshman from Phoenix, Maryland, trying to throw it over his shoulder. Penn State just winning the run out, so it'll stay with the Nittany Lions. Shot clock reset to 60 on the restart. Up top, here's Considine, the transfer from Hobart, where he was a captain and 3-year starter, number 41. Penn State trying to get that 2-goal lead back. Iantuano, the true freshman who started each of the first 3 games on attack. Now Kyle Lehman, the junior. Lehman defended by Finn Fox, and the 2 new starters on defense. That's a situation to monitor for the Tigers. Shot clock winding down. Here's Considine, goes top shelf and beats Croddick. Penn State gets the 2-goal lead back. Considine second as a Nittany Lion.
Tremendous take to get inside. Take a look here. Goes towards goal line extended, switches to the left hand, avoids the goal mouth, the crease, all that, beats Croddick before he lands. Clean goal, no question about it.
Short stick matchup, and the transfer took advantage. Considine, 20 goals as a sophomore for Hobart, and then limited to 3 games by an injury as a junior. 21 goals last year as a senior captain for the Statesmen. And he's got his second with the Nittany Lions through 3 games. Face-off won by Colby Baldwin cleanly and quickly into the attacking end for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, Princeton might need to kind of retreat on the face-off to make sure they don't give up the fast breaks. Face-offs going mostly the Nittany Lions' way thus far. You talk about the Princeton defense, probably the least experienced unit on the field for the Tigers after the graduation of Colin Mulshine and Michael Bath, who felt like they were here for a decade.
So Colby Baldwin, 3rd season as the Nittany Lions' primary face-off man. He's won all 3 he's taken last year. Princeton an 11-10 overtime victory on the road at Penn State, but Penn State won 20 of 26 at the X.
Penn State with just so much pep in the step on offense. They just look like they're 3 games into their season.
Aquino against Spees, gets it up top. Lehman split dodge, top shelf, and the Nittany Lions have an early 4-1 lead. Fourth different goal scorer for Penn State here in the first quarter.
And a crafty goal for the junior. Split dodge up top. Could have been a penalty around the head here. Take a look again. Stick gets a little bit high. And he crosses it over and beats Craddock top shelf. And again, it's going to come down. You can't score without the ball. Andrew McMeekin's got to win one of these for the Tigers.
Kyle Lehman last year second on the team with 25 goals and 32 points behind the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, Matt Traynor. And Lehman picking up where he left off, had a hat trick in that season opening victory against Colgate in which Penn State put up 18. Face-off win for McMeekin, his second of the contest. And now Princeton will try to get it back to a 2-goal deficit. Second midfield line comes on. Jake Vaughn of the sophomore, Carson Kramer, the 6'5", 245-pound junior out there wearing 21. And a true freshman from upstate New York, Parker Reynolds, number 8. Peter Bonanno, natural lefty, natural fit to slide in for the graduated Coulter Mackesy, Princeton's all-time leading goal scorer. Great job by Brendan Leary, the junior defensive midfielder, not letting Kramer get any space. Pass out top side, and the Tigers are going to turn it over despite the hustle by Bonanno.
You're absolutely right. Leary was really patient, right, on Kramer. Didn't fall for the shot fake, and that made all the difference there.
4-1 Nittany Lions approaching the midway point here in the opening quarter. Game number 3 for Penn State, the season opener for the third-ranked Princeton Tigers. We'll certainly have some movement at the top of the national poll after that Syracuse victory over number 1 Maryland last night.
What a game that was. The Syracuse defense, super impressive.
Princeton's next 2 games at Maryland, home against Syracuse. They had them hung up, passed through traffic. Penn State with Aquino able to corral it, and they'll reset. Ferrone going up against Hunter Spees, the junior who started the back half of last season for Princeton once Jack Stahl moved to long stick midfield. Looking for the cutter out in front. Iantuano works it up top. Here's Considine trying to play the 2-man game back to Aquino with 25 on the shot clock. Aquino against Kistler. That's the matchup we expected to see. Actually, that's Stahl still. 10 on the shot clock. Let's see what they do. There's a shot, and finally a clean save. And Princeton trouble clearing it. Iantuano, the freshman, scoops up the ground ball, bounces it home. And the Nittany Lions between these two.
Well, you're going to see, you talk about strength of schedule, Princeton's schedule coming up with Maryland and Syracuse. Penn State has loaded the out-of-conference schedule as well. Between the Ivy League and the Big Ten, both tremendous conferences, that automatic qualifier is never a given. So these coaches are loading up the out-of-conference schedule to get that RPI up, to give their teams 2 ways into the tournament, either the AQ by winning the conference or by an impressive overall resume.
Penn State, after they won 20 of 26 at the Face-Off X last year, now 5 for 7 here in the first quarter today. For the Nittany Lions, a different look as we get our first look at Liam Matthews, 51, the redshirt sophomore on attack. Ontario native who was on the All-Big Ten freshman team last year, missed the first game, coming back from an off-season injury.
I mean, this is the perfect formula for Penn State early in this game. Dominate possession, keep the ball away from the Princeton offense, and keep on scoring.
Wahlstrom for the second time starts below goal line extended, comes topside, turns the corner and beats Craddock. 5-goal lead for Penn State here on the road.
And the other part, as we talked about, a young defense, relatively speaking, for Princeton. The slide is just not there. He beats him pretty early. The slide has got to be there. There's got to be some traffic. There's got to be some contact from the Princeton defense. It's not there, and Wahlstrom takes advantage. 4th goal of the season. Penn State goes up 6-1, and we talked about it. Princeton might take a little bit of time to gel. It needs to happen soon.
Some early motion on the face-off, and possession awarded back to Penn State, so they'll go right back on offense. They don't keep track of time of possession. If they did, it would be what, probably 80-85% Penn State. Princeton's really had two settled possessions today. Running out of the box, head of steam. Here's Waters, the transfer from St. Joe's, who also got his season started a week late due to an injury. Iantuano so quick with the footwork. Over to Matthews, who's mixed into the midfield. Here's Ferrone with the midfield.
Ferrone, a big athletic shooter. You combine him with Hunter Aquino. There's just a lot of size at attack in midfield for Penn State. Gives them a couple of great options.
Here's Carragher, comes topside, bouncer. Penn State's got a beat on it, and it stays with the Nittany Lions.
And Craddock, really with one save so far, he needs to get into a rhythm as well. So far, Penn State's had his number.
Iantuano works it near side. Mark Waters, second game in a Penn State uniform. The transfer takes some contact and lands in the crease. It's going the other way.
Yeah, no push there, so Princeton will have the opportunity to clear from the far alley. And again, Craddock kind of pointed to himself at that, last goal. He knew he threw that clearing pass right into traffic in the middle of the field. That's the last thing you want to do against a talented team like Penn State, especially when you need time for your defense to rest. Use up the clock. Princeton's offense now, get your best six on the field. Don't be afraid to use some clock before you take that shot. Give that defense a little time to catch their breath.
That Craddock turnover ironic because he's so strong in the clearing game.
Yeah.
That's something Princeton's looked to do over the past couple of seasons.
First real game, you can get away with that sometimes in practice. Casual scrimmages, not today.
Chad Palumbo, 6 goals on 6 shots in that quarterfinal loss last May against Syracuse that ended Princeton's season. Nate Kabiri changing direction behind the cage. As a short stick matchup, let's see if he goes to work. Kabiri, battle between the two number 2s, topside, feet out in front, looking for Palumbo. It was knifed down. Wade comes away with it, and the Tigers will reset, but it's checked away. Going back the other way, checked away from behind by Ross.
Great trail check by Ross. A nifty behind the back pass to get the clear going, and Penn State once again, Hunter Aquino has it in the offensive end for the Nittany Lions, and they'll just look to keep going on offense. They've had such great success beating the first defender off the dodge, and the first slide just needs to be earlier for the Princeton Tigers to force a couple of turnovers and get the ball back to the talented attack that just hasn't found the chemistry yet.
Ross, the veteran on that back line, 4-year starter, 2-time honorable mention All-American for Penn State, had that trail check and the takeaway. 6-1 Nittany Lions going back to work on offense. Chase Robertson as they cycle it around in the midfield. Coming up on the final 2 minutes here in the first quarter. Game 3 for Penn State. Season opener for Princeton. Chance to step into it, but Robertson being patient through traffic. Low bouncer, didn't have a look, and a save by Craddock. That came in from Lehman, but Princeton can't corral it, and the Nittany Lions keep it.
Penn State's just been ferocious on both sides of the field in terms of stick checks. That one, another tremendous one on Kistler to keep the ball in the offensive half. A good save by Craddock on the no-look shot, but Princeton unable to keep possession.
So that second midfield line getting their third or fourth shift. Ferrone 34, Carragher 17, Considine 41, the transfer from Hobart. Final 90 seconds here in the opening quarter, and a 5-goal Penn State lead on the road against the third-ranked Princeton Tigers. Haven't really heard from Aquino outside of that goal that opened the scoring. Flag comes in, first penalty of the day coming up. It'll be against Princeton, so a free possession here. Liam Matthews through traffic, the backhanded shot turned aside from Carragher. And now we'll get the call. Not what the Tigers need, down by 5. All right. Slash the call. Owen Fisher, the culprit, the junior defensive midfielder from Maryland.
So a full 60-second man up that matches the time left in the quarter for Penn State.
Penn State, it's a small sample size, but this is an area they'd like to work on. Just 1 for 3 in the man up. Scored on their lone opportunity in that overtime loss against Villanova last week, and of course it was Aquino. So keep an eye on 23 here on the man up. It was 2-0 Nittany Lions. Wade got one back on the Tigers' first settled possession, and since then it's been all Penn State. Tried the pass through traffic. Princeton knifed it down, but it ends up in the back of the cage, and let's see who gets credit for this one. 21 Luke Wallstrom was in the vicinity. Either way, it's a man-up goal, and it's a 6-goal lead on the road for the Nittany Lions.
Ferrone tries to get it through.
That might have been
Finn Fox.
Oh, Finn Fox, 17, I think so.
You want to keep your stick up in the passing lane, and that's just bad luck for the Princeton Tigers.
So Michael Ferrone, who had the shot, which may or may not have been a pass through traffic.
It was a pass through traffic.
Will get credit for the goal. Trying to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there.
I had a good angle on that one. I saw what he was going for, and
maybe he played a lot of pinball growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Princeton with a much-needed face-off win, as that'll put us back at 6-on-6. And then some contact at the other end, and a timeout taken by Matt Madelon, as they couldn't afford to give up possession.
Couldn't afford to give up possession. Didn't know if we were going to see a hold there. But Princeton gets the timeout, and they'll talk it over to try to eat into this 6-goal deficit with 21.3 seconds left on the clock. You got to draw up a good play here. But I'll tell you what, Cody, I mean, lacrosse is a game of runs. Princeton hasn't even sniffed the opportunity to go on a run because of the lack of possession. I mean, this 6-goal deficit almost feels like a 10-goal deficit. First game of the season, attack has barely touched the ball. As we take a look at the huddle, Matt Madelon in his 10th season as Princeton head coach. Jeremy Hershey, you see facing the camera, a veteran defensive coordinator, a great defender in his own right here at Princeton, class of 2011.
We talked to Matt Madelon just about the continuity on his coaching staff, and he mentioned if you look at teams that make deep runs into
success, but do we see the freshman Russ Fitzgerald out of the Taft School? A really strong freshman, comes in with high expectations as well. We'll see if they switch it up a little bit just to try to find the matchup that might work.
Shots 14-2 in favor of the Nittany Lions. 15 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Princeton out of the timeout. Chad Palumbo behind the back feed, burns out in front. Kabiri can't keep it in bounds, and it's going back the other way.
And, you know, the look is good, but at the end of the day, that one almost gets through as the quarter comes to an end, but Princeton's got to clean it up the early season.
Baldwin against McMeekin, and a clean face-off win for Andrew McMeekin. He's going to take it to the cage, goes low, turned aside by Baldwin, or rather by Hawkins. Outlet pass, Penn State can't clear it cleanly, and Cooper Miller scoops up the ground ball.
And an opportunity here for Princeton. Here's Bonanno. We haven't had a chance to talk about him because Princeton hasn't had the ball much, but he is a lefty. Comes down from midfield to replace Coulter Mackesy, the all-time points leader in Princeton history, who is in the building today. But Bonanno brings a little bit of a different look. Yes, he's a left-handed attackman, but Coulter Mackesy, one of the best set shooters in college lacrosse. Bonanno, a little crafty, can get to the cage as we take a look at Kabiri.
Kabiri draws the early slide, was looking for Palumbo across the crease, and it comes out the other side for Tucker Wade. Princeton, there's a formula. Coulter Mackesy, as a freshman, played midfield, then they slot him down to attack. Peter Bonanno, last year as a freshman, played midfield, now slides in on that lefty attack spot. Burns, extra pass, Kabiri, top shelf, stings it. Those two have been playing together since high school, and you can tell the chemistry they have.
Find him his first goal of the season, first of what should be many, and he's going to need a couple more here today to eat into still a 5-goal deficit.
Nate Kabiri, you talk about all the Hall of Famers and big names that have come through this Princeton program. The only player in program history with 30 goals and 25 assists as both a freshman and a sophomore. One of 6 in program history to eclipse 100 points over 2 seasons.
And quite frankly, not that the early accolades mean much, but for Kabiri not to be on a 50-person Thornton Award watch list, to me, that was surprising.
So Princeton gets one back. Penn State trying to counter. It was 7-1 Nittany Lions at the end of the first quarter. Penn State, they can score in that season-opening victory at home against Colgate, 18 goals. Colgate, of course, one of the highest scoring teams in college lacrosse last year as they try the hidden ball trick and Princeton doesn't bite. So Raiders, historically, at least recently, have played a lot of high scoring affairs. Shot still 14-4 in favor of the Nittany Lions. Pass through traffic, back across midfield for Kabiri, and Penn State goes over and back.
And Princeton can settle it down here. They don't have the number advantage to push the pace as Bonanno takes it in the near alley. Dunphy comes on for the Tigers.
Cooper Miller stuck out there, a defensive midfielder. Shot hits the side of the cage, and it's clamped down by Hawkins.
I don't think Bonanno's stick ever crossed goal line extended. That one didn't have much of a chance.
So the Tigers not officially a turnover, but a possession they'd like to have back.
Yeah, the coaching staff will call that a turnover. That's just not a quality shot when you need possession and you really want to work the ball around. You're still trying to find your matchups. Every possession matters so much when Penn State is making so much out of their possessions.
John Jude Considine, the grad transfer. Attackman by trade, working in with the midfield here today. Second midfield unit out there. Carragher, Ferrone, and Considine for the Nittany Lions. Harassed from behind, trail checked away, and the Tigers coming back the other way. That was Finn Fox. First-year starter on close defense, the sophomore for the Tigers. 2 years ago, the number 5 ranked recruit, according to Inside Lacrosse, finally getting an opportunity.
You know, this is an interesting spot, you know, mentally for the Tigers in terms of trying to weigh the sense of urgency down 5 with the patience that comes with knowing you're early in the second quarter. You know, I think if Princeton could get 2 here, you know, and be down 3, you can really calm down and say this is anybody's game. But until then, it's a tough balance between that sense of urgency and patience, but you can't throw the ball away like that.
Second takeaway by the All-American Alex Ross, and he's off to the races as he clears across midfield for Penn State. Into Lehman, Ross will join the fray on offense, and another turnover by the Tigers. That's their 6th here in the first half.
And on the opposite side of the coin for Penn State, I think you can really slow it down a little bit and basically dare Princeton to go on a run. Make the most of your possessions, use up the shot clock, see if you can extend this lead and make it tougher for the Tigers.
Jackson Greeno and Fisher, the 2 defensive midfielders, out on the field for Jeremy Hirsch, the defensive coordinator. Here's Aquino. There's a mismatch against Fisher, the defensive midfielder with the short stick holding his own. Pass over to Lehman. They'll work it back out to the midfield. Here's Beard. And now through Aquino, who the Tigers, outside of the game's opening goal, have effectively taken out of the equation.
And give Croddick some outside shots to see. So make sure the crease is covered. No easy goals. Try to get Croddick into a rhythm.
Stepping into that one, Aquino on the left side, and an easy save for Croddick. Just as you said, a little bit of traffic, but at least some time to read it.
Yeah, not the hardest save he's going to see, right into the body, but still, that's an outside shot that he has time to see and react to.
Fisher got it to Jackson Green, who thought about pulling the trigger and then thought much better, down by 5.
Well, after that last shot that just wasn't quality early in the shot clock, you really need to be careful.
Jake Vanna, Carson Kramer, Parker Reynolds, second midfield, getting their second shift here early in the second quarter. Penn State, I think, may be the most impressive part of that first quarter outburst. 7 goals by 6 different players.
and that makes it tough on the defensive side of the ball with a lot of inexperience for the Tigers. It's not like somebody went on a run. You got to move the pole, slide early to one guy. Great distribution.
Nate Kabiri being jostled from behind by Ross. It's a fun matchup to watch. Here's Reynolds, and the freshman, no, didn't get the Tigers back on the board. Side of the cage, clean release downfield for Hawkins. Penn State has numbers if they hurry, but with a 5-goal lead. Yeah, they're going to look to move. There's the shot. Tigers step in front of it. That was Kistler. Ball still down on the carpet, trying to fight through Penn State, and they get the timeout.
What a
Nittany Lions fired up on Preston Hawkins, got the opening day nod, won the goaltending battle in training camp, went down to that last scrimmage for them against Army. You put him out there, first career start, true freshman, day one, inside Haluba Hall, where the entire building's just kind of wrapped in a white tarp, so that's a terrible background against that white ball, and top it off against a Colgate team that was the 4th highest scoring offense in the country. Turning the corner and getting Penn State back on the scoreboard is Ian Tuano, who's got his second. 4th of the season for the freshman from Maryland.
Great job by Ian Tuano, taking advantage of the defender tripping over the back of the cage. Just a great job of realizing that Spieth had fallen, and then when he realized it, the quickness to get above goal line extended and a nifty bouncer to beat Croddick. Penn State just continues to score on high percentage opportunities, now with 8 goals to Princeton's 2.
6-goal advantage matches the largest lead of the afternoon for Coach Tambroni's squad. Shots now 16-6 in favor of Penn State. McMeekin with the much-needed face-off win for the Tigers.
And Penn State just not making it easy. I mean, McMeekin, he's a walking truck stick, as you see there. Just an absolute powerhouse on the field, in the weight room, you name it. 32 is strong. So that's going to be tough to stop. But Penn State doing all the right things. Even though McMeekin wins the face-off, don't make it easy for him to cross midfield.
Shot easy, stick side, bell tie save for Hawkins. Second save of the afternoon for the true freshman from Powell, Ohio. And now they'll get it up to their All-American on the back line, Ross, to clear.
You know, Jim Mitchell, one of the best offensive coordinators and offensive minds in college lacrosse, he's going to talk to this team about quality shots, right? You want to test a freshman goaltender, you can't go stick side and make it easy. You can't go too low angle on the side of the cage. Use the turf, bounce it, switch it up.
Into the midfield, Liam Matthews. Settled in as a starter on attack the back half of his freshman season last year. Up top, here's an opportunity for Wallstrom, who's got a couple goals already today. Back over to Matthews. Shot clock down to 20. Trying to get the screen on Miller. Now Robertson through traffic, knifed away, back out towards the midfield. Shot clock won't reset. 10. Robertson on the doorstep. There's a shot. Tough angle. Ian Tuano. Stick decided. It'll stay with Penn State. Great hustle by Kyle Lehman, the junior, on attack.
Great awareness by Lehman as it hits the post. Gets out of bounds in a hurry, but number 4 is right there.
Made contact with the keeper, so fresh shot clock. Penn State had a 7-1 lead at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, so all things considered, you know, Princeton has totally changed the pace as that behind the back shot hits the side of the net. Penn State's only scored 1 goal this quarter, but so has Princeton. This was the opportunity with defense playing better and not allowing goals for Princeton to go on a run. They'd love to go on one here in the last 5 minutes of the half before they hit the locker rooms, because this is not the taste you want in your mouth at the break.
That last shot courtesy of the redshirt sophomore out of, not surprisingly, Ontario, as he tried to wrap it behind his back. 6-goal lead for Penn State matches their largest advantage here in the first half. Top midfield line out there for the Tigers. Dunphy over to Bonanno on attack, who's playing up top. Bonanno last year was quiet the first month of the season and then settled into the midfield. Rare, settled, patient possession by the Tigers. Tucker Wade rolling back left, loses his footing. Ball gets jarred free, and timeout Princeton.
Yeah, that one a little bit of contact, but the Turf Monsters bitten the Tigers a couple of times. They seem to be slipping and sliding all over class of 1952 field. So a smart timeout with under 5 minutes to go to try to retain possession with 22 left on the shot clock.
Ivy League.
Both through your strength of schedule and overall resume, and then by winning the conference. But it's hard not to look ahead.
Chào mừng bạn đến với thế giới rực rỡ nhưng đầy.
Syracuse and UNC, that is a gauntlet in a short amount of time. And oh, by the way, Maryland in between.
3 teams we didn't talk about when we were just going over the standings in the preseason poll. Brown opening their season, they've got a 6-2 lead just before halftime. Yale going on the road to 11th ranked Army, and they're doubling up the Black Knights 6-3 as Penn State gets that one back.
An off-ball call, procedural, and Penn State right back on offense after that smart timeout by Coach Madelon.
Princeton in this vaunted offense, maybe the best attack unit in the country. They just haven't had the ball a lot, and when they have, they struggle to maintain possessions.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, this Penn State attack unit looks so strong. And Penn State, quite frankly, to summarize it, they look like they're in the 3rd game of their season. They look like they're in mid-season form, and Princeton looks like this is their first half of lacrosse.
Another patient offensive set for the Nittany Lions. Here's Carragher, feeds out in front for Matthews, who's not able to sneak it past.
Great save by Croddick, in tight, good accuracy going for the top right corner. He's able to just get the top of that stick on the ball and send it into the snowbank.
Penn State's got 8 goals on 19 total shots against Croddick, who's on the Tewaaraton preseason watch list. Last year was the Ivy League Goalie of the Year and an honorable mention All-American. He had a great first season starting for Princeton.
Aquino's got the short stick matchup.
And some space as he attacks from the top of the box through traffic. Carragher slinged it inside arm, saved by Croddick. Penn State resets. There's a shot, and they go low for the goal. Michael Ferrone, the redshirt senior, gets into the scoring column, and it's the largest lead for the Nittany Lions.
Missed all of last year with an injury, and I was watching him in pregame warm-ups, as I said earlier, and he's got a smooth shot. And the greatest part is the timing. Croddick was outside of the cage trying to chase the ball, gets in, was unable to really get set by the time Ferrone had let that one go, and he beats him low to low. 5th goal of the season for Ferrone, native of New York.
Ferrone came into the season 3 career goals. He's a redshirt senior. He equaled that with a hat trick in that season-opening win against Colgate. And that was his 2nd here today to put the Nittany Lions up 7. Clean face-off win, right back into Aquino, who immediately calls out the formation.
What an opportunity for Penn State here with just about 2 minutes to play in the half to play keep away and preserve the 7-goal lead and maybe try to extend it to 8.
Largest lead of the afternoon for the Nittany Lions, coming off that overtime victory at home against Villanova, on the road for the first time here in 2026. Matthews running with the midfield on the attack last year. Cycle back up top, Aquino into the thick of it, back up top. Beard carries below goal on extended. Over Iantuano, who's got a couple. Good ball movement for the Nittany Lions. Aquino lost his footing. Ball loose out in front of the cage of Croddick, and it's Princeton coming away with it with Kistler.
Great job by Kistler coming out of the scrum with that ground ball. Princeton will look to clear it and make the most of this minute and change.
Hunter Spies feathers the pass across midfield to Friedman.
Running
out of the box, Palumbo head of steam, draws the slide, and he'll curl out into the alley.
Again, it's that balance of patience and sense of urgency, but preseason midfielder of the year, guy when he gets rolling downhill is hard to stop. Would have liked to see Palumbo just run right at the cage there and let one fly.
So impressive. Penn State didn't have numbers, but still got the slide to Palumbo.
Yeah, but Palumbo can fight through that too. And I think that not only might get one on the scoreboard, but sends a message to his team about how they need to play lacrosse.
Dunphy, short stick over to Kabiri, somehow found the angle and sneaks it in for a Princeton goal. Second of the day, and the Tigers' third goal comes with 28 seconds to go here in the first half.
Beautiful quick stick by Kabiri, climbs the ladder a little bit. You see Dunphy throws it across the cage, and didn't take much for Kabiri to get his second goal of the day. A big one for Princeton as they look to eat into this lead before halftime.
Nate Kabiri last year, 17 games on attack, 61 points.
And here's been a surprising mismatch here at the Face-Off X. Yes, it's 8-5 Nittany Lions, Princeton Tigers. But Penn State has dominated time of possession.
Another clean face-off win. Here's Baldwin, who thought about taking it to the cage himself. Instead puts it on the carpet. Spies comes away with it, and Princeton's got to hustle with 15 seconds to go.
Want to get a shot off here.
Finn Fox up ahead to Spies. Now Palumbo, preseason midfielder of the year nationally with 5 on the clock. He's got to go. Palumbo left side, fires out in front, looking for Burns, and never got there. And the first half comes to an end.
Halftime, right? You can talk about it. You've got to see it on the field. On offense, you've got to trust that the 6 can get it going. It's going to be about shot quality. Too many, shots that lacked quality in the first half. And on the defensive side, they're just losing the one-on-one battles on the dodge. And the slide is just not there early enough. And Penn State has cashed in. Those things have to change.
Violation on the face-off on Baldwin, so it'll be Princeton possession, down by 6 after they trailed by as many as 7 in the first half. Top midfield, Tucker Wade, who got the scoring started alongside John Dunphy and Chad Palumbo, who had a couple of opportunities to take it to the cage late in that second quarter.
Yeah, I look at Palumbo, again, not just about his skill, but as a captain, as a leader. What he did against UNC last year, really putting his body on the line to score at UNC, that changed the season for Princeton. And if Chad Palumbo can kind of run into people, put his body on the line, that sends a message to his team that could be greater than just scoring a goal. It's about the will to win, the will to play tough lacrosse.
John King, the Utah native, with the takeaway, and Penn State right back on offense after Princeton not able to get a shot off on their opening possession here in the second half. It was 2-0 Penn State out of the gate, and then the goal by Wade, and then a 5-0 run for the Nittany Lions. And they've been in control since. Penn State turns it over. Here's Spies. He has it jousted away. Kistler trying to corral in the corner.
Great job by Kistler. Great pursuit by Penn State. They are relentless, but Princeton able to outlast it that time.
Cooper Miller, two-sport athlete who spent the first half of the basketball season with Mitch Henderson's squad across campus. He'll hand it off to Chad Palumbo out of the box and then curl off to the sideline. Chad Palumbo finally gets free, and the shot right into the chest of Hawkins. Comes out topside, scooped up by Keenan on defense.
Great job by Hawkins.
Patrick Keenan, the lone first-year starter on defense for Penn State. Hawkins had a quiet first half. Just 2 saves over the first 30 minutes. They'd love to get him some confidence. That was one of the question marks. Who would the goalie be after they graduated 3-year starter All-American Jack Frassian? Big Ten Specialist of the Year 2 years ago. Hawkins got the opening day start, got pulled early on after allowing 4 goals on the first 5 Colgate shots, but they put him right back out there. Downhill dodge, and there's Aquino once again, who opened the scoring back in the first quarter, and he gets Penn State up 10-3.
Great job by Aquino of just taking what the defense gives him, which is really a clear lane towards the crease. You cannot let 6'5", 205 run without contact right in front of him. Stick checks to the side, that's not going to do it. And you can see how excited Jeff Tambroni is to see Hunter Aquino do what he does best, which is take the ball to the rack.
Talk about balanced scoring. Hunter Aquino, the 4th Nittany Lion with multiple goals. It was Iantuano, Wallstrom, and Ferrone accomplishing that in the first half. Back to the face-off X. Baldwin couldn't take it after the whistle, but it's Reed Gills who wins it.
3 Nittany Lions going for that ground ball. McMeekin fighting, but then 2 Tigers just kind of at the periphery. You want to see a fight for the ground ball there.
Ferrone out there with the second midfield line. Aquino at the top of the box. Back through Aquino into traffic.
Great stick inside.
There's John Jude Considine, the grad transfer from Hobart, number 41. Tough to miss 23 Aquino, all 6'5" of them.
Aquino and Ferrone up top. Just a lot of size and a lot of shot power.
Aquino 6'5", Ferrone 6'4", 210 out of Franklin Square, New York. They tried to finesse that through traffic to Iantuano.
Haven't
and
seen
it'll
a
stay
call.
with Penn State.
They're going to talk about it. That one might have hit a couple of sticks, and it's going to go Princeton's way. So I think they're going to say it was Iantuano who last touched it. Here's Miller again. From the hardwood to the turf at 52. Jackson Green, we talked about it. He's a starting wide receiver. At least those 2 sports are separated a little bit. Basketball, obviously in full go mode right now, as is lacrosse. So those 2 are tough to play at the same time.
Cooper Miller got into a couple of games before the holidays, and then once the calendar turned to 2026, focused his attention entirely on lacrosse. Huge possession here for the Tigers, down by 7. That matches their largest deficit of the afternoon. Peter Bonanno trying to wrap it around, top side, tough angle.
Good shot by Bonanno. He gets above goal line extended enough to increase his angle to see the cage, and that's what you expect from Bonanno. He weaves a little bit. You know, he's a native of Rhode Island, but he's really crafty with the stick. Reminds you a little bit of a box player in that way.
Parker Reynolds, a freshman who just hit the side of the cage with what looked like it could have been his first career goal in the first half, fires wide.
But this is what you like to see. Quality shots, good volume of them. Keep the freshman goaltender on his toes. What a stick check against Kabiri. A clean takeaway there. It was Alex Ross.
Third cause turnover by the All-American Alex Ross, senior out of Davidsonville, Maryland.
Wow.
He's been the best player on the field today, and there have been a lot of stars for the Nittany Lions.
I mean, how clean is that against one of the premier attackmen in the country on just a casual restart, and he just picks it clean.
Andrew Beard holding right, Aquino at the top. Another patient possession. Aquino goes low. Save made by Croddick. Quick outlet. This is a staple of the Tigers, but Kramer not able to handle it, and the Tigers give it right back.
Give it right back. And Aquino, I think Princeton's lucky he shot it from there to give Croddick a better shot and time to see, because he again could have run right at the crease. And if you're Aquino and the rest of the Nittany Lions, you've got to continue to do that until Princeton proves they can stop it.
9th turnover by the Tigers. Here's Aquino. Will he step down?
I'm not afraid to keep that short stick on Aquino. See if they're going to try and get a switch. They do. It's another short stick.
Yeah, they switch off and they put Ian Mize on him. Penn State's been so patient. That shot lifted by the Tigers, and Penn State wins the run out.
I think it's fair to say if Aquino's going to stay up top, they're not afraid to have the short stick on him. If he comes goal line extended into a traditional attack position, they'll probably switch to get the pull.
Another high shot over the crossbar by Lehman. Iantuano back into play. Now here's Aquino with some time and space, rolls left, fires, and whips it wide.
How about the pace on that with the left hand?
Torque, leverage.
Yeah, all of it.
No shot clock reset. Kyle Lehman, the junior out of Ambler, Pennsylvania. Now here's Robertson. Back up top, Robertson gives it up, gets it back. I don't know if Croddick ever saw it, but he made the save.
Yeah, right now, the sun would affect Hawkins more than Croddick. Pretty high in the sky, but you can see from the shadows this time of year, if you shoot from the bench side, you can use the sun to your advantage on the left side of the field as you're watching on your screen.
Midway point of the third quarter. Not a lot of offense here in the second half so far. Penn State led this one 9-3 at halftime, and then they got the lone third quarter goal. Princeton trying to get back on the scoreboard with Palumbo, who's turned aside by Hawkins.
Good take. That's a high percentage shot for him. We've seen him score every which way in his career as a Princeton Tiger. Now as a senior, they're going to need the captain, Chad Palumbo, who you saw the story of Chad Palumbo with what he's been through. Lacrosse is the easy part.
Stick down on the ground. Penn State able to recover. That was Brendan Leary. Bonanno harassed out in the midfield. Over to Dunphy. Dunphy with a short stick matchup. Rolling left, Tucker Wade draws the slide as they switch a short stick on to him. 10 on the Princeton shot clock. Tucker Wade against Leary. Tried to roll it low. Easy save by Hawkins. Tougher save on the putback by Burns.
What a sequence by the freshman in the cage.
Pile of humanity to the right of the Penn State net, and it's going to stay with Princeton.
Take a look here. The second save is outrageous. Burns thought he had all the daylight in the world, and Hawkins turns the lights out. What a job by 35. He hasn't been tested too much today. Tested twice in quick succession there, and he passes with flying colors.
6.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Princeton still scoreless in the second half. Swimming underneath, another save by Hawkins.
Palumbo stepped in the crease. That again is a high percentage shot Palumbo wants back. Hawkins positioning himself so well between the pipes to cut off the angle, and Palumbo looks so frustrated as he comes off the field.
Preston Hawkins, top 100 recruit. Worthington Kilbourne High School, Columbus, Ohio. Not exactly a lacrosse hotbed, but you can see why they like this true freshman out of Powell, Ohio. Won the goaltending battle in training camp. It went right down to the final scrimmage against Army. Was neck and neck with a redshirt freshman, Hayes Schreiner, who came in to relieve him early in the season opener, but they put him right back out there, and he's getting his confidence back.
It just shows you how deep the talent is at the high school level in lacrosse. When you're talking about Hawkins, a top 100 recruit starting in cage and making saves like that. Parker Reynolds starting on midfield for Princeton, number 68 recruit. You're telling me 68 guys are better? Just such a tremendous talent pool.
Princeton still has not scored in the second half. Defense trying to win it back. They were able to strip it, but it rolls back out to the midfield. Here's Waters, the St. Joe's transfer. He gets bottled up and gives it back to Aquino. 10 on the Penn State shot clock. Skip pass. Comes near side Ferrone. Shot clock winding down on the doorstep. Thrown over his back to no one in particular, and this is going back the other way.
Look at this Penn State defense. Goalie, back half of the field. They gave up 14 in both games coming into this one. They've given up 3 to what, and again, you can throw out preseason accolades once the whistle blows, but what's thought to be one of the most powerful offensive units in the country. They've given up 3 goals through almost 3 quarters. Now, I don't think that's all because you go from inside a bubble to outside, but Penn State, they are on a roll defensively, and this bodes really well for them as they head into the meat of their season in the Big Ten schedule.
Princeton last year just shy of 14 goals per game. That was 7th best in the nation. They graduated 1 starter. Now, asterisk there, it was Coulter Mackesy, who was the number 4 PLL draft pick and the Tigers' career goal scorer. We've seen that before. Nate Kabiri connecting with Colin Burns, and the Tigers finally back on the scoreboard here in the second half.
Well, Cody, normally we say that in jest, right? That you know, Burns and Kabir have been playing together since middle school. But as the rest of this offense still clearly needs to find their chemistry, you need to lean on a chemistry.
Mackesy.
And Princeton's cleaned it up on defense. If you think about really that tumultuous first quarter with 7 goals versus the 10 they have almost through 3. You know, Princeton has settled down on defense. Craddock has settled in as well, but the Princeton offense has yet to really find that gear that they're expected to have.
Cooper Miller causing the turnover. Zach Friedman with the ground ball, and now the Tigers a chance to try to chip away at this 6-goal deficit.
And it's a game of runs, and you're just waiting for Princeton to go on that run. Is this when we see it?
Top midfield line out there for Jim Mitchell, the Tigers' longtime offensive coordinator. Talked about the consistency. He's in his 6th season here in Princeton, and really interesting, right? Was an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator during his time at Rutgers as they try to go stick side high. Hawkins deflects it away, and it'll stay with Princeton.
Yeah, he had some tremendous offenses in his time up Route 1 in Piscataway. And obviously
those guys all
talent.
finally graduated, right?
Yeah. It's a fun couple of years with those years of eligibility and COVID years and all that.
Behind the back feed, Bonanno goes low. Kick saved by Hawkins. It'll stay with Princeton.
Hawkins has been outstanding today, preventing Princeton from going on these runs. I mean, that's a shot that normally goes in. Hidden stick, low to low, can't track it, gets a leg in the way.
Princeton, you could argue, has carried play here in the second half. It's 1-1, and the Tigers haven't been able to get any closer than 6. Kabiri and Burns both behind the cage. Now Burns back to Kabiri. Up top, Palumbo. Let's see if he goes to work.
Early slide, beautifully done by Penn State, and they force the turnover. What a job by the defense. They earned that.
Got 3 bodies on Chad Palumbo, and now Penn State off to the races.
Got numbers, they'll slow it down. Smart decision there.
Liam Matthews, just a sophomore, is going to kick it back out in the alley and wait for the right personnel.
Yeah, that slide to Palumbo. Palumbo, he can dictate when he's going. That swim move is almost like his tell, right? He does it whether he needs to or doesn't in a lot of cases, and that is kind of the cue for Penn State to get ready to slide.
2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Nittany Lions will go back to work with the shot clock down to 40. Kistler chasing Lehman around. Now Beard back in the midfield. Short stick matchup against Fisher. Iantuano, the freshman, he's got 2 goals already. 15 to shoot for the Nittany Lions. No Aquino out on the field on this possession. Stripped from behind, right to Craddock. And then knifed down. Penn State gets it back. That's the second failed clear today by Craddock.
I was just going to say, Craddock's got to be pretty deliberate with the clearing passes. Too many have gone awry, and right on cue, doesn't see Penn State player behind him. Craddock, he's so good at getting the ball out quickly that's his instinct, but today he's got to be patient and just make sure it's a successful clear. You don't have to try to get the break.
Penn State had a 9-3 lead at the half. Each team with just one tally here in the third quarter. Penn State a chance to get the lead back up to 7. That was their largest lead of the contest.
It's funny watching Maryland Syracuse, last night, and just the differences in philosophy about the ride, right? Either you do or you don't ride, right? Is the substitution more important, given that most clears are successful anyway? At Penn State today, they've gotten their substitutions done, but they've also been relentless.
Out in front, bouncer, sticked aside by Croddick, but scooped up by Iantuano. His stick work's been impressive this afternoon. Robertson on the dodge, pass through traffic. Bouncer with 6 seconds on the game clock, 1 second on the shot clock.
Should just roll it into the corner.
And they will. Clock never started.
Clock never started.
Huh.
I don't know if he held it in his stick longer than a second, but doesn't matter.
Thrown the length of the field. They can't connect with Kabiri as the third quarter comes to an end. Low scoring third.
As we get started.
Princeton's got some work to do. Penn State had a 2-0 lead. Princeton got a goal by Wade, and then a 5-0 run by the Nittany Lions has really put this one out of reach. Face-off win by the Tigers, able to corral it on the far sideline. That's Finn Fox.
That's in the back.
Croddick gets smashed into, and the flag comes, the whistle comes as they tried to go to the cage. This will be just the second penalty of the contest.
Is it a push with possession 30 seconds? Was it a cross check a minute? It's going to be an interesting call.
Penn State had one man up. They were able to capitalize. Princeton has not been man up yet.
So blue, 23, push with possession, 30 seconds, we said 80, free clear.
Push with possession, Hunter Aquino.
So 30-second man up for the Princeton Tigers that they desperately need to take advantage of as Bonanno gets it to Kabiri.
And on the man up, no changes. Actually, there's one change. Jake Vana out there, number 36.
Got to stay active in the crease to give the outside shooter some room. Keep an eye on Kabiri. He's going to move inside to out, and Palumbo gets his.
Patient on the man up for the Tigers, and Chad Palumbo finally checking into the scoring column. And Princeton back within 5.
And you saw Coulter Mackesy. He likes a lefty shot from that side of the field. We saw that, I don't know, 100,000 times.
Lefty shot, time, space, drop down a little bit.
I mean, there should be a plaque on that little square foot of turf with Coulter Mackesy on it, because that's where he made his bread and butter. And Palumbo saw it enough to be able to do his best imitation there. Palumbo, a great shooter in his own right, and gets his first tally of the season, the tri-captain this year.
Give Peter Bonanno, the sophomore from Providence, Rhode Island, the assist, and Chad Palumbo, who found the back of the net 28 times last year, with his first here this season as Princeton changes it up at the face-off X. They went with the intimidating freshman Russ Fitzgerald, but Penn State able to control possession.
And Russ Fitzgerald has been committed to Princeton for a while, out of the Taft school, and I remember seeing a picture of him in his Taft jersey with the caption, "You're telling me this is a high schooler?" I mean, just an absolute beast at the face-off X.
That was pretty early in his high school career too, wasn't it?
I know.
Penn State doubling up Princeton, but that pass intercepted by Hunter Spees. Finn Fox will look to clear. He'll get it back to Ryan Croddick, who will step out of the cage. Feather it topside. Cooper Miller steps across.
You know, a 5-goal lead seems surmountable, you know, sometimes when it's 20 to 15. It seems like a lot bigger of a lead when you're asked to double your goal tally on the day, to go from 5 to 10, right? It does seem more daunting. Not every 5-goal lead is the same, but Princeton has got to chip away and make it more realistic early in this fourth quarter to get momentum and belief on their side.
Yeah, if Princeton can capitalize here, they'd have some momentum for the first time all day. Bonanno over to Dunphy, save. Another point-blank stop by the true freshman Preston Hawkins.
I mean, it's tough to say who's been best on the defensive side of the ball. You could say it's Alex Ross on close defense, but it's tough to surpass what Hawkins has done as Bonanno gets on the board.
Back-to-back goals for the Tigers, and that 7-goal deficit all of a sudden whittled down to 4. It's a 10-6 contest. Bonanno's got his first of the day.
And you love the celebration. That's what you want to see to pump up the crowd. The alums love it, and that's what Bonanno brings to that left-handed attack position. The ability to kind of weave. He does the toe drag a lot, get inside and get an easy goal.
And now they can run some clock here with a 4-goal lead.
It's a huge win for Penn State after Princeton finally found themselves playing a little make it take it.
Aquino back on the field, high pass pulled down by Wallstrom, who had 2 first-half goals. 4 multi-goal scorers today for the Nittany Lions.
And again, the Princeton defense has settled in. They've given up 3 goals since that first quarter, which was the first quarter, obviously, of their season, and they've settled in.
Pass out in front. Fisher steps in front, scoops it up cleanly, trying to win the foot race across midfield, and does.
Really nice job of keeping his head on a swivel, understanding he was in hot pursuit as Palumbo takes it in.
Palumbo feathered into the crease, and now back to Palumbo. Couldn't get the hands free, and the Tigers turn it over again.
Palumbo actually went behind the head, which is where the defenders were. If he had taken one more step towards the center of the field, there was no one there with the strong left hand.
Princeton, too many short possessions, too many failed clears that have led directly to Penn State point-blank opportunities.
And a lot of shots they're going to want back, right? You're going to go to the film room. Chad Palumbo's going to look at that and say, why didn't I just shoot it overhand, right?
Part of what makes this Princeton offense so good is that they're not selfish. But sometimes, if you're one of the best players on the field, you've got to just go.
And a captain, like I said, there's more than just the points on the board. They're showing people how to play with the sense of urgency. I talked earlier in the game about the balance of patience and sense of urgency when you're down big. Well, now there's no patience. There's just sense of urgency.
Considine had it stripped away by Stahl. Princeton clearing. Back into Palumbo as they sub the top midfield line on. Green off to the bench along with Stahl. Tucker Wade joining the fray as Bonanno goes to work. Bonanno, the reigning Ivy League Rookie of the Year, up top. Here's Wade. Left side with a head of steam, turned aside by Hawkins. Huge second half of the true freshman, but Kabiri comes away with the loose ball.
Amazing for Kabiri to come out with that clean.
Tucker Wade back to work. Swim dodge, goes low and scores. 3 in a row for the orange and black, and all of a sudden it's a 3-goal contest. Second of the day. I said 3 in a row, 4 in a row for the Tigers. Penn State was up 10-3, but goals.
Chào mừng bạn đến với hành trình giải mã gỗ mô, một trong những chủ đề gây tranh cãi nhất lịch sử khoa học.
Princeton was down 7 in this contest.
Huge win by McMeekin and a great job in the center of the field by Friedman, the long stick, to say, let me get this to a short stick to complete the clear.
Princeton a chance to make it a 2-goal contest. All of the momentum towards the orange and black here early in the 4th quarter. Bonanno working on Costin. Comes topside. Peter Bonanno, natural lefty, through traffic, looking for Burns, scooped up. Roman DiBartolomeo, we haven't talked about him or either of his siblings. All 3 of them the same year at Penn State. They all came in together, all on the defensive side of the field.
2 of them are twins.
2 of them are twins, born a day apart.
Clock struck midnight.
That's a fun, like, 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
10-7 the score, 4 in a row by the Tigers. Penn State trying to stop the bleeding. Penn State opened the season with a home victory inside Haluba Hall against Colgate, and then An overtime loss last week against now-ranked Villanova. 25 on the shot clock, curling back inside. Carragher. Now Iantuano, the freshman, already with 2 goals today, hangs on. Iantuano gets the screen below goal line extended, comes topside, up top. Aquino can't handle it cleanly. Kistler jousting at him, but he'll carry it into the midfield with 5 to shoot. Penn State's got to get a shot off, for Carragher can't get the hands free. With 1 second on the shot clock, goes top shelf and scores. What an individual effort by Patrick Carragher to get one back.
Princeton did a great job defensively for 79 seconds. And even here, you thought, no way. And he beats Croddick high to high. And that erases so much momentum for the Tigers, because look at how Penn State reacts.
They announced unassisted. Yep.
Yeah.
Heavily impeded.
Can he also get the assist? Yeah.
That snaps that 4-0 Princeton run. The Tigers really for the first time all day had a bit of momentum. Russ Fitzgerald back out to the face-off X, the true freshman. This will be his 4th face-off of the day. It's been mostly McMeekin, who's 6 of 18. Friedman and Quinn Kramer on the face-off wings for the Tigers. And Fitzgerald wins it cleanly.
First win of his young career. The first of what Princeton hopes is a ton.
Top 100 recruit out of the Taft School in Connecticut, where he won 65% last year as a senior. The other thing, and we haven't really seen it play in, both McMeekin and Fitzgerald really good offensive players when they're going at the face-off X.
Yeah, they are. McMeekin, if he gets going downhill.
8 goals that led the nation for face-off men. Carson Kramer getting a shift out there, second midfield for the Tigers. Trying to get a goal back after they had it within 3 before that tremendous individual effort by Carragher to make it a 4-goal contest.
Type of season for him with his size and ability.
21 Carson Kramer, 6'5", 245 out of Washington State. Stick lifted, and that one floats into the cross of the netminder Hawkins.
You play your high school ball in the state of Washington, you don't care how cold it is, you're just happy it's dry.
Penn State now 15 for 16 clearing this afternoon.
Aquino taking his time against Kistler behind the cage.
Essentially 5-on-5 here, as you've got a couple of... Nope, they got him off the field. Here's Aquino trying to roll back in against Kistler. Pass elevated nearly out of bounds, but Wallstrom able to pull it down. Defended by Cooper Miller. Now here's Aquino, gets free, turns the corner, comes topside, and somehow finds some daylight to beat Croddick. Hat trick for Hunter Aquino, the sophomore out of Easton, Pennsylvania.
What an answer by Penn State with 2 quick goals after the run by Princeton. And it doesn't take much for 6'5" to get above goal line extended. He goes backwards, and I guess it's a beach day here in New Jersey as he swims towards midfield.
Would have also accepted slip and slide. Hunter Aquino last year a 6-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week. That earned him Big Ten Freshman of the Year honors. 16 goals, but 21 assists. Own hat trick came against the Tigers. He had 5 points. Wow. How about that effort off the wing with the ball down on the turf? No flag coming in as bodies pile up.
Shocked that that's not a trip in 30 seconds.
This one's going to kick back towards Croddick, where it's scooped up by Fox. So when the dust settles, it'll be Princeton with Kramer clearing across midfield.
And Princeton now, desperation mode again. They had chipped away, and just like that, it's another 5-goal lead for Penn State. I always like to say if you're down by as many minutes as there are on the clock, you've got a chance. Well, they're down 5 with 5:30 to go. So they got to stay on pace here. And by the way, that's a stretch of a philosophy.
Broken stick cleaned up off the field. Tigers critical possession to say the least.
Can't do that. Another unforced turnover as Bonanno was looking for Palumbo.
Tigers set up the ride as Hawkins looks to start the clear.
And you got to think if Penn State can cash in on this possession, that could be it, but Princeton gets it.
Knife down by Spees, right to Kabiri. Tigers had numbers, but they're instead going to slow it down and get the right personnel on the field.
They had numbers by math, but not by position on the field with good opportunity.
Under 5 minutes to go, 5-goal game. There's Wade, lets it fly. Long rebound off the Hawkins save.
Hawkins does a really good job of seeing the ball. I'd love to see Princeton switch it up and bounce the ball. That's where they really haven't tested Hawkins too much. He's got a lot straight into the leg, the stick, etc.
Roman DeBartolomeo, one of those sets of 3 brothers for the Nittany Lions with the ground ball in the clear. 4:20 to go. Penn State looking to put it away here on the road against the number 3 ranked Princeton Tigers.
And with, you know, still almost a minute on the shot clock, they can really start to work this down. And one more goal and you think this thing is iced if it's not already.
The Tigers, we talk about how tough it is when you're a couple of weeks behind the rest of the country. Princeton's won 13 straight season openers. That streak in danger here today with under 4 minutes to go.
And that streak's gotten harder in the last few years with how how the schedule has changed.
Absolutely. Here's Considine. Flips it in, shot on the move, and that'll probably do it from Liam Matthews with a tough angle.
How about the accuracy from Liam Matthews? Seen it a couple times today. Look at the nifty stick work. Switches it, shoots with the left hand, but really over the right shoulder. Perfectly placed to the lower right corner. Croddick cannot keep up. Croddick, a right-handed goaltender. That's the hardest save for him to make, would be bottom left. Matthews knows it, and he puts it home. And Penn State gonna have a nice bus ride back to Happy Valley.
Princeton had that 4-0 run, and they cut it to 3. That was with around 10 minutes to go, but now 3 consecutive goals, and Penn State has all but put this one out of reach with 3.5 minutes to go.
And now Princeton, they just need to shoot with reckless abandon here. I'd find Kabiri, get hands free and let it go.
13-7 Nittany Lions on top. Peter Bonanno going to work. Now Kabiri up against Ross, who's been one of the best players on the field with 3 caused turnovers, the All-American for Penn State. Out to Reynolds, the freshman, got a stick on it, but it stays with Princeton. Tigers need to go. Here's Bonanno, he gets bodied up. Kramer lets it fly, and it's going back the other way.
Great awareness by Penn State. Closest to the ball, when and where it goes out of bounds. Great job. 2:50 on the clock, 80 on the shot clock, and a great clear. Iantuano,
the freshman, good wherewithal not to take it to the cage and risk turning it over when you've got a big lead and 65 seconds still on the shot clock.
got to pressure, double the ball, press out.
Cooper Miller trying to lash at it. Been a relatively cleanly played game up to this point. Just 2 flags have come in.
You got to pressure out, slide early. Nothing to lose now.
Penn State airmails it into their own bench, and it'll go back to Princeton. Princeton next week, they will head down to Maryland. A Maryland team coming off a loss.
You don't want to play Maryland off a loss, but you also don't want to play Princeton off a loss either. They're going to learn a lot today. I mean, you take that first quarter away, it's a different game. That's unfair to say to Penn State, right? They take advantage of the first quarter as they should. It's a 4-quarter game, but if you're Princeton and you've got to start to look at, you know, how this game played out as your first game of the season, you're going to look at that first quarter and say, if we had that back, it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, since the start of the second quarter, Princeton's outscored Penn State by 1, but the Nittany Lions out of the gate a 7-1 advantage through 15 minutes. Out in front, they drew the pipe. That was Dunphy. Another good opportunity, and the Tigers, it's just been that kind of a day to open up their 2026 campaign.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds between the game clock and the shot clock. That'll count as a shot with Penn State with the backup. That's great lacrosse IQ too. Give the shot, you know you got the backup. It's like a great clear.
Penn State, after that overtime loss against Villanova, they come on the road against the third-ranked Princeton Tigers and get out to that 7-1 lead. Really balanced has been the story today. Aquino has 3 goals, but 3 other players with multiple tallies. And a timeout taken by the Nittany Lions.
Great job by Penn State today. The Penn State faithful, you know, they recruit kind of that Philadelphia main line so well. New Jersey as well, so a great opportunity for some Penn State fans to come see their team here in New Jersey, and something tells me there may be a lot of navy blue on Nassau Street celebrating this one when the whistle blows.
An absolute gauntlet for the Tigers out of
they get today.
Penn State next Saturday on the road down in Annapolis, taking on Navy, and then 2 more Ivy League opponents. Wrap up February against Yale, and then take on 4th-ranked Cornell March 7th. Out of the Penn State timeout, Princeton trying to press out and pry the ball away, down 13-7 here with 30 seconds to go.
And if you're Penn State, you know Princeton's going to pressure right now. You also don't want to get hurt. You can roll the ball into space. You can kind of cheap it. This isn't a 1-goal game killing the clock. Just play keep away. If you're getting doubled, cheap it.
Over to John King as Kistler will take the foot off the gas. Penn State can toss it into the corner with the shot clock winding down. It'll go back to Princeton. 10 seconds to go, looking to connect to Kabiri. Pass out into space, and that'll do it here on Sherrod Fields. Penn State jumped out to a 7-1 advantage. Princeton cut it to